professionals, industry associations, friends, family, etc., they have all contributed to the success that you've achieved to date. So my question to you is, how often do you touch base with these individuals? And for most lawyers, the answer is, well, not often enough. So I encourage you to make a list of everyone with whom you'd like to reconnect. Call a few people each week just to say hello and check in and see how they're doing. Offer to meet them for breakfast or coffee or lunch, because truly staying connected to the great people that you've met throughout your career will lead to opportunities to build and grow and develop your practice. Now, let's move to our next polling question. The question is, in the past 2 years, have you conducted any type of a client satisfaction survey? This one is easy. Yes, no, or you haven't but probably think it's a good idea. So get those responses in. We only have 64% so far. Have you conducted any type of client satisfaction survey? Couple more seconds here. Okay, let's take a look at the results. 15% of you have actually done some sort of a client satisfaction initiative. 41% have not. But the rest of you do agree that it's a good idea. So that's a good thing, because based on what we're going to talk about next, we are moving into the next tip, which of course is, when in doubt, ask your clients. So what this means is, if you're ever wondering what direction you should go in your practice, really step back and consider the the opinions of the people who really contributed to your success to date. So before moving forward on a new marketing campaign, or expanding into another market, or launching a new service, consult with your clients. Many lawyers and law firms have benefited from conducting client surveys or client interviews, because particularly in a tight economy, you need to know your clients' perceptions and what's important to them, and then tailor your offerings around what your clients need right now versus the services that you're trying to sell. And this is a really important concept. I have been in many meetings where lawyers sit around a conference table and talk about how they can grow the firm. And if they're not consulting with their clients as one point of data, they're missing the very most important audience, and that is, again, the people who have really gotten you here in the first place. Tip number 4, be a stickler for responsiveness. Now, this goes without saying, but it's worth repeating. If a client contacts you, call them back. If they send an email, respond back the same day. Even if you don't have new news to report, always call them back. Because in a tight economy, you have, and you've probably seen this already, there's a lot more competition. And one variable that you have complete control of in a tight economy is the service-oriented focus that you provide your clients and contacts each day. So again, even if there's nothing new to report on the case or the matter, if a client calls, it's so important to be responsive to them, because that's one of the most important facets that clients use when they determine, is this a lawyer that I would actually refer to my friends and family? And again, it's something you have complete control over. Tip number 5, clarify then exceed your client's expectations. Now, what I'm proposing here is that very early in the relationship, you clarify what clients expect from you as their lawyer. Find out how they want to be communicated with, how much detail they want in their invoices, how they want you to provide updates and the laws that affect them, but just in general on the case that you're handling or the matter that you're working on with them. I even encourage my clients to find out what frustrates your clients about having to deal with lawyers, because every client is going to have different expectations, but they're also going to have baggage from past relationships that they've had with other attorneys. And I believe it's your job as a service provider to clarify those expectations up front with a goal of exceeding them. Now we're going to move into some of the ideas regarding developing new business. Before we do that, we're going to take another poll. The question here is, which of the following criteria, now I'm going to give you a little bit longer, which of the following criteria is most important to you when you're looking for an A-level client? I want you to check the top 3, and I'm going to read what the options are. That you know that your expertise matches the client's need, that the client has the ability to pay your fees, they were referred to you by someone you trust, they called you, you genuinely like the person. So based on those selections, just you have the option of picking 3. Pick your top 3. We have about half of you who've responded. I can already tell this is an advanced group. This is a highly advanced group. Okay, I am going to give you just a couple seconds, and then I'm going to close the poll. Okay, so let's take a look at the reaction or the live polling from all of you. I'm happy to see that 97% of you value the fact that you know your expertise matches a client's need. 79% the client's ability to pay, 67% referred by someone you trust, 8% they called me, 36% I genuinely like the person. This is good because what we're going to talk about next is very important, I think, in looking at growing your law practice. So let's move to the next tip, and that is knowing the criteria for your ideal client. When you're building your law practice, it's important to attract the right kind of clients, as in those that reflect and utilize the best and highest use of your expertise as an attorney, and not necessarily just clients who can pay your fees. Now, obviously, we have to have clients who are going to pay our fees. My point here is don't make that the sole criteria. They have a checkbook and they're willing to pay me so they can become one of my clients. I need the money, I need the revenue. I'm encouraging you that as you move forward and develop that proactive marketing plan for 2011, be selective. And the hardest time to be selective is in a tight economy. Now, here's how you can do this. You can, as you're thinking about your A-level clients, think about what your very best clients have in common. Then think about clients that you really wish you weren't working for. Maybe you had a bad feeling, you took them on as a client, and now it just really isn't working. Think about what those traits and characteristics are, and then create a list of attributes of your best clients and identify what they have in common. How are they attracted to you? Why do you like working with them over other clients? And think about making a goal of selectively growing your practice by adding clients who you know are a good fit, those clients who meet the criteria that you've established for your A-level clients. Tip number 7, targeting your audience and your message. Now, all of these things, as you're going to see, everything interacts and relates with every other thing. So based upon the results of your A-level client criteria, identify types of clients who truly utilize the best and highest use of your knowledge and your expertise as an attorney. Then really look at the characteristics, their age, their geographic location, the type of company or individual they are. If you do family law or work with consumers, you're looking at referral sources. You're looking at what your best referral sources have in common. Also focus on the results that you generated for them. And then the key to the target audience and messaging is to develop messages for each different audience that answer the question, why should I hire you? And maybe a bold client would sit in front of you at a conference or in a conference room and say, why should I hire you? There are a lot of other lawyers out there. But you need to prepare yourself. They may or may not ask that question, but focus your hire me messages around the value you bring to your clients, the uniqueness that you bring to your law practice, the philosophy that you have in delivering services to clients, the experience that you've developed in certain areas. You can also mention your client satisfaction with your work, so that if you have gone out and done any type of a quantifiable survey, you can actually use the results to say, in a recent survey conducted with our clients, 99% would refer us to others, or whatever questions you decide to ask in your survey. And this is a great tool for attracting new business. I've also had success with new clients to say, would you like me to tell you what my best clients have in common? Would you like to know sort of the traits and characteristics of my A-level clients? And it sort of takes the pressure off of you as an attorney to feel like you have to sell, but rather to stress the fact that you are really looking for the best fit with a client, just like they're looking for the best fit with an attorney. Tip number 8, focus on your top 10 list. So track the logical flow of developing new business by making the process more manageable for yourself. You do this by identifying not hundreds and hundreds of prospective clients, but start with 10. Identify your top 10 prospective clients. Then identify your top 10 current clients that you would like to potentially do more work with. And then look at your top referral sources. Where do they come from? What industries are they in? Because you now have 30 individuals or companies to focus on as you develop your marketing plan for 2011. Spend a few minutes putting a plan in place to connect with each person. It's not just enough to have a list of 30 people. Think of the people also in your network who could potentially introduce you to a key prospective client or referral source. Building a law practice is 99% about building, nurturing, and growing relationships. So a lot of what we're talking about today supports why the relationship building side of marketing is really what's going to make or break an attorney's marketing effort. You can also plan to attend an industry event with a client or with one of your best referral sources. Spend time with the people who are on the top 10 lists that you've created, and really focus when you're with them on asking great questions. You're not there to sell. You're there to build and grow and nurture a relationship. And the best way to do that is to listen and ask great questions, listen more, and also be willing to share expertise with them. They don't have to have a signed retainer agreement for you to do some brainstorming with them, because what I want you to do is listen for opportunities in that dialogue so that you can potentially turn those opportunities into new business for yourself and for your practice. Oh, I already talked about that, being willing to share your expertise. Now, moving on to pillar 3, which is all about, as you recall, increasing your name recognition and awareness in the marketplace. The first tip that I want to talk to you about is community involvement. So the tip is get or stay involved in your community. If you're not already involved in your local community, consider becoming involved in the Chamber of Commerce, the Rotary, a nonprofit board. Give of your time and expertise by doing pro bono work. And also remember that nonprofit organizations, especially during tough times, they want and need dedicated volunteers. So what organization in your community really interests you? Is it a food shelf, a place of worship, an arts organization? Ask colleagues and clients about volunteer and nonprofit board opportunities that they might suggest, and you will be happily